So this is a hazel tree, and we know it's hazel because this gives it away, all of these stems. It's a multi-stem tree, so that means that these will keep growing back. If you cut it, and it's called coppicing, so if you cut it right back to the base, if we cut this whole tree off, it would still grow back with these little stems on top. And you often see that in older forests, where people have been using the same trees for generations. They'll coppice it every few years to get a new lot of hazel stems. Because these stems, when they're about this thickness, are really bendy, but at the same time very strong. So they were used for, say, wattle and daub, so making fences, making structures, and they're really useful along with willow for making boundaries, basically. They're getting a bit ragged now because it's in autumn. Okay. So this one here, you can see around the outside it's very toothed. So these teeth, jagged edges. At the same time it's quite round, it's not a skinny leaf, and it's very furry. So underneath as well, it has a feeling like velvet. So they're quite hairy leaves. And the seeds at this time of year, the seeds of a hazel tree, are hazelnuts. So hazelnuts are edible for people as well as animals. This tree seems to be a very particular favourite of mice and squirrels. Okay, so here, originally when the seeds fall down, they fall down in these tufty little seed cases, and this has 2 seeds in it. So the seed will look like this. It'll fit into this case. This is the way it looks when it hangs on the tree, but greener at first. And it turns brown and it drops off. So it looks like this, and this is a very hard outside shell, and it needs to be cracked. So all of these here are have potential seeds inside. Not all of them will be viable, so some feel a bit lighter than others, and that might be that it's just an empty case, there's no actual seed inside it. Others will have seeds inside, and by now the squirrels and mice usually have found those ones. So the likes of this is very recently done. You can see it's been chewed apart, but the seed has been taken out of the case. You can see these are all still potentially viable, so we'll leave them back for mice and squirrels to have for their winter store, unless you're going to plant some in your garden, in which case I'd take maybe 1 or 2, because they are sustaining animals during the winter time. So only collect seeds if you really intend on growing them in your garden. If you're just going to collect them in a plastic bag and let them rot, it would be a very big waste. So we'll leave these back for now. I'm just going to show you one more thing. So this is a hazelnut that we found on the ground. And if they're left to grow on the ground, if it's not eaten by a squirrel or a mouse or collected by people, it'll do this by itself on the forest floor. It'll split open and grow a little root, or what's called a radicle, and that will burst out at the end of the seed. And because it's in amongst the leaf litter and the muck that's decayed leaf litter, it'll shoot this root down into the ground first, and then when that's got a good strong hold, it'll shoot a shoot up through the soil, and we'll get a new hazel tree. So you can see around this tree here, it has lots of its own stems. We have some potential baby hazels. These here, they've already lost their leaves, but I would say that they are coming from seeds just like this one, and they've already grown to this height. So that's the hazel tree. And these are a great tree to plant if you want to grow something in your garden. If you want to grow some native trees, but you don't have a lot of space, maybe. Hazel, you know that it can grow big, like this one, but you can keep coppicing it, and you can keep it quite small with stems just this thickness, and it'll survive and it'll thrive like that anyway.